Goa, a land of nature's beauty and bounty, blessed by deities and divinity, presents a picture of peace and serenity to the whole world. Since its liberation from the Portuguese rule, the welfare focus has never been missed. Still, there are some areas that continue to seek attention. One of them is the disability sector, covering people who are differently abled. After all the progress seen over the past 3 decades as a state, Goa still needs to work more on this vital aspect of welfare. This is the story in the 70th year of the national independence, in the advanced, progressive, forward-looking state of Goa. But there is no need to lose heart. There is a group of passionate people with positive outlook involved in persistent actions that recognize the need and importance to work in this field. The very name they carry says it all. It is Lokvishwas Pratishthan. A 36-year-old organization involved in the activities of welfare, education, training and rehabilitation of the differently abled in the state. It all began way back in 1981 when a distressed mother of a special child wrote to a renowned journalist, Sri Narayan Athole, the then editor of local daily Dainik Gomantak, who spearheaded the popular movement for the education and training of the disabled. With time, it received good response and desired support. The school-cum-shelter home for hearing impaired was opened in the central town of Ponda with 18 children. Thus was born Lokvishwas, truly built on people's trust. As the hostel and school started functioning from a single room accommodation in the town of Ponda, there were issues of space, facilities, manpower, and of course finances. But the team of committed citizens pooled together their personal resources at times to tide over the situations. Efforts were on to get some land so that adequate accommodation could be arranged by constructing school building. Sri Shantadurga Samsthan authorities made available a plot of land at Dauli Fonda, where stands the headquarter building of Lokvishwas Pratishthan. With passing years, the school activities expanded to provide education beyond primary stage. The primary section was named after late Meenatai Thackeray in gratitude to Shiv Sena Supremo Balasaheb Thackeray and family for their generous donation. Government of Maharashtra too extended support in the form of financial grants. As higher classes were added beyond the primary ones, the new high school setup came up in the name of Virani and Isani, the 2 business families that supported the Pratishthan in its activities. This was in the year 1996. 15 years of persistent struggle by the trustees and the active supporters started finding some footing in the community, which reflected in the support in cash and kind from people of Goa and Maharashtra. So far, hearing impairment was the only disability that Pratishthan could handle, especially among children, so that they could gain knowledge and skills to become independent individuals in their adult life. With a decade and a half spent in the area of education, training and development of the hearing impaired, the extent of prevalence of different disabilities in the community was realized by the activists in the Pratishthan. The most prevalent was the intellectual disability, commonly called mental retardation. The Lokvishwas Special School for this section, which started in the year 1999, turned out to be a boon for the differently abled and their parents away from main towns of Goa. Additional space and transport facilities for students became the major issues which were addressed through government schemes and philanthropic support. The trained human resource to man such schools all over the state was a challenge, and Pratishthan took it up by starting a teacher training center in the year 2003. Over the next decade, the Pratishthan observed the growing incidence of autism, and to deal with this, another diploma course that is Diploma in Special Education, Autism Spectrum Disorders, was started in 2015. After hearing and intellectual disability, the issue of visual impairment was due for redressal. In the year 2001, such school was established at the headquarters of Lokvishwas Pratishthan in the name of Nabad I. Virani and Ismail J. Virani School and Home for Visually Impaired, which has grown into a secondary school serving the unfortunate and the unattended sections. The first Braille library in the state and disabled-friendly facilities supported further by developmental activities stands testimony to the vision and mission of the Pratishthan. Almost 3 decades of Pratishthan work in the disability sector was restricted to the central town of Ponda and its periphery. The far-flung rural areas of Goa looked to Lokvishwas with great hope and sought help. Responding to this call, Pratishthan had to open schools in the distant remote places, the first of which came up in the southernmost area of Kankona in South Goa in 2009. Followed by 2 more at KPM and Honda in South and North Goa district respectively, with further additions of 3 more in the years 2013, 2014 and 2016. These 3 are in South Goa, the one in Shirvoi, where it started as a resource room to help local students, another in Marshala in Ponda Taluka, and the latest one in the newly formed Darbandura Taluka at Molem, the last inhabitation in Goa on the Panji-Bangalore highway. These new additions are all for special children affected by intellectual disability. While the school education for the hearing and visually impaired is being provided till class 10th, their dignity and security are still at stake. In view of this, the pass-outs had to be given employable skills. Hence, the Pratishthan took the lead to start a vocational course in computer skills at plus 2 stage for the hearing impaired, which is running since 2015. In case of the intellectually disabled, the issue is more serious. The provisions of the acts and the rules made by the authorities make it difficult for the institutions and organizations to continue the work through schools for those who have attained adulthood, their mental age notwithstanding. Schools are not allowed to retain the students beyond the age of 21 years, and families feel worried. Skills these children acquire need to be brushed up and kept alive, failing which they slide back to their helpless situations. This has led to the opening of a daycare center for the disabled in the nearby locality, hardly 2 kilometers from the headquarters. This daycare center keeps these adults occupied and help their development through a number of productive and creative activities. A number of handmade items are prepared here under the guidance and supervision of local craftspersons and elders, and are sold through exhibition cum sale organized in educational, social organizations, industrial and commercial establishments, feast and fairs, local celebrations, etc. This helps these differently abled children to mix and mingle, interact and participate with the mainstream on terms of equality and proved competence, thereby boosting their self-respect and self-confidence. Lokvishwas, as the name suggests, has tried to work with the people's trust, support and cooperation. Helping hands and healing minds have come closer to build a community of hope and a camaraderie for future. Our efforts to provide educational facilities now stands at the crossroads. All our school premises in the mofusils spread over the state are in rented accommodations. Well-equipped school buildings with state-of-art equipments, amenities, facilities for all these schools needs huge funding for almost a decade or more, even if every single project is taken up on war footing. A social organization like Lokvishwas cannot think in commercial terms when it comes to land and construction. It is the state and society at large, business and corporates who can make real difference to the lives of the disadvantaged and distanced ones such as the differently abled. It is time to address these issues. The management has its plans for school building at KPM in South Goa. The project, with the estimated cost of Rs 6 crores, is to have provisions of rainwater harvesting, recycling of wastewater, solar lighting and alternative energy. The total built-up area of 3,000 square meters will house classrooms, therapy rooms, activity rooms, labs, halls, logistic and administrative area. There are so many disabled-friendly buildings to be constructed, playgrounds to be provided, training and rehabilitation projects to be activated. All this is possible only with the generous hands and human hearts adding to our strength and aiding our efforts. People have every reason to trust us, not just because it is in our name, but because we have proved it through our achievements and recognition too. Our students from the schools for the differently abled have made a mark in different fields, not only at local and state levels, but also at national and international levels. Our teaching staff has received accolades and appreciation of the authorities as well as the community and educational fraternity. Lokvishwas Pratishthan has taken this long journey with active support of the community. There are sponsors, donors and well-wishers who have stood beside the Pratishthan all through. This work has received recognition from the state government as the best NGO in Goa. The Social Gratitude Award from Gomanta Vidya Niketan, the socio-cultural organization of repute with a centenary long-standing, and daily Lokmat Gaurav Puraskar for social service. All this stands testimony to the contribution of the Pratishthan over the last 4 decades. The journey has to go on as the issues and challenges persist. More of the helping hands and happy hearts with a healing touch need to come forward to strengthen the commitment of Lokvishwas to carry on and on. It's an appeal, an invitation to everyone to be a part of the journey.
Lokvishwas Pratishthan is completing its 36 years of service to the society very soon. I am very fortunate to have my association with this organization from last 30 years. With the support of the people from the state and across the state, we have achieved many milestones, and presently we are taking the care of 500 such children. If you ask me to narrate the success of this organization in a very few words, I will say that we have just touched first 3 alphabets A, B, C and have to march to touch X, Y, Z. Presently, we are in the facility of the school, but the time has come to have the shelter with the residential facility and rehabilitation center. I am here to say on behalf of my management that we are planning for such a beautiful project, and we will have this project in a very shortest period of time, and the name of the Lokvishwas Pratishthan will prove worthy.